We are live, Nicole. Welcome to our weekly live show where we bring you success stories, insights, perspectives, and wisdom learned
Wisdom.
from our mistakes, your mistakes in particular, to help other people accelerate their growth. This week we feature Nicole Smith, the one and only. So Nicole Smith, everyone, is a corporate dropout, is now a national ranked leadership coach focusing on emotional intelligence and how to transform from a top performer to an exemplary leader.
Hmm.
No matter whether it's in your personal life or professional life, she always encourages you to show up and show off and live the lifestyle that you desire.
Yeah.
So, Nicole Smith, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hi, Kent. I'm doing well. I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited. Actually, this is what I call our smooth landing into Friday to the weekend, and so
Mhm.
much is happening. I'm so blessed. I'm so humble, and I'm just excited about the future and what's about to come. Of course, learning from all those mistakes in the past, right?
Right, right. Which is why I strategically placed this kind of show on a Friday. So
Hmm.
kind of like, have this conversation and then drift off into La La Land in the weekend, right?
Yes, absolutely. So this is you're my last thing on my calendar today.
That's nice. That's it. We'll call after this. Well, where are you dialing in from, Nicole? So everybody knows where you're currently at.
Yes, I am in Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been here since about 91, moved around a little bit in North Carolina, but this is what I call home. Charlotte is home for me and my family.
All right. Charlotte in the house.
Yes. Whoop, whoop.
So let's kick this off. As you all know, everybody loves a good success story,
All
especially
right.
one that's packed with tons of nuggets, right? Wisdom nuggets, so that
Yeah.
they can all benefit from. So let's take a walk down memory lane.
Okay.
Let's tell us what were you doing prior to making a switch to entrepreneurship.
Oh my goodness. It all started when I was in third grade. No, um so as you said, I'm a corporate dropout. I was in the corporate world for 26 years.
We both.
And I've been in entrepreneurship. The IRS says I've been in business for 16 years, right? But I always say my profit and loss says I've been in business for about 4. And
That's a good way to put it.
because yes, as any entrepreneur, as you can relate, or anyone that's one that's starting a business, you're 9 to 5. Being a 9 to 5 while you're trying to be an entrepreneur, that is nothing new,
Right.
nothing for anyone. And that 9 to 5 gig is going to fund your business, your side hustle, right? So
Mhm.
you stay in there as long as you have to until you can come out as an entrepreneur and basically have enough funds to pay yourself, pay bills, and so forth, right?
Mhm.
But I was in talent management, or back in my day, it's human resources, payroll, benefits, leadership development. And so I came out of college, Kent, and I was making a whopping $21,000 when I came out of college. And at that time, I thought, okay, this is great. But then I started realizing, okay, there's something more. And I just traveled
Mhm.
through my career, and I was consistent. Now, mind you, as I was doing this, I really didn't know what I was doing. Right, the stumbling, the fumbling, and I was just kind of like, okay, there's got to be something where the things that I'm learning, I have to be able to apply them somewhere. There has to be more, I guess.
Right. Right.
So I kept going through my journey, and I realized that I felt like I was beyond my years in regards to the way I was thinking in regards to leadership and the way leadership should be. And
Mhm.
basically, I realized for businesses to do well, for organizations to do well, you have to treat people kindly, right? You have to treat people as they are the ones that help you get the bottom line, to get to the bottom line. And I
Mhm.
realized, okay, something was there. And I realized when things were not going well, it was because of we weren't paying attention to the people. So then that's when I started really heads down working in my own business, and people started asking me to speak and do workshops and so forth. And I was like, hey, this girl who used to be told she talks too much, I think I might have a gift of gab here. And
That's what you realize you have it inside of you all this time. You
all this
know.
time, I had the gift of gab because who is that kid that was told they talk too much? That was me.
Mm,
And now here I am, I have a business off of that gift of gab. But I realized it wasn't just talking, right? It was me telling a story to help others. What was my story? What could I share with others to
mhm,
help them be the better version of themselves? So I have
mm,
to say, I fumbled a lot in the last 4 years. I really have crafted or really have honed in to my talent, and I've leaned into that strength,
mhm.
and here I am. So when I took that jump and jumped forward in regards to entrepreneurship, it was a little scary, but
Right.
I realized that I had the strengths and the talent, and I had the wisdom, and the growth mindset, because I'm still learning, to continue to do this, to really have a lucrative, thriving business that serves others.
Right. I also recall and remember you mentioned that one of the other reasons were because you didn't have a mentor when you were
Right.
in, right? You didn't have that someone that guide you along the way, that have a leaders, a mentor that you look up to.
Right. I didn't have I had good leaders. So I want to say for the people, hey, listen to that.
Somebody.
Oh, this is live. We're working from home. Here we go. Um, this is where I don't want anybody that's watching this that may have been a leader, with me or worked with me in the past and say, well, Nicole, you've had good leaders. I have. I have had good leadership. But it was far and few in between. Right. And so I learned lessons from them. But where do we learn our most lessons, right? We learn our most lessons from the bad ones, right? From the ones that we question.
Right.
Right? And I literally did not have a mentor. No one stressed to me, hey, get a mentor. Nobody stressed to me the importance of that, or get a sponsor, right? Until I was probably like a little more up in my career, my leadership status or leadership title, as they would say, to say, I need a mentor. And then I acquired different mentors. I had multiple mentors. So,
Mhm.
right, I didn't have that leadership. So, one of my taglines, or I like to say to people, is I want to be the person for you that I didn't have as I was growing up in the corporate world.
Yes.
I didn't have that person. So, let me be that for you.
For you.
Let me be that guidance, that mentor for you.
And there's so many people out there, professionals, who are kind of not stagnant, but kind of too comfortable, right? And
Yes.
they need that extra push to get
Yes.
them to the next place. And they
Gentle,
need someone like you.
yeah, that gentle push, because I'm going to be that coach. I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm going to be kind. I'm going to be authentic. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear to take you to that next level. And sometimes those nuggets are hard to digest, right? But this is where I'll tell them, go chew on that for a minute. Let that marinate for a minute. And then we'll talk tomorrow, or we'll talk in a week, right? And they always come back and go, I reflected on what you said. And it makes sense, right? Because initially that stinging, it stings. And this is what I say, Ken. I said, the truth will set you free, but first it's gonna piss you off. And sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need that.
You do. So when you were, so majority of your experiences come from bad leaders, obviously, but also the fact that you dropped out of the corporate world and
Mhm,
got into entrepreneurship and you stumble along the way,
mhm.
you know, those are invaluable experiences, right?
Yeah,
So there's no success without mistakes. And
right,
those are two of the same side, same coin, basically, two sides of the same coin.
right,
Can you share with us what kind of mistakes you have made to help our audience benefit from your own wisdom?
right. This is I, I in the past I try to start other businesses as well, but the same common theme in it was not having a business plan, like
Hmm.
thought out, written out business plan. So, for instance, how I put this to other people that are stepping into entrepreneurship, I say, you want to sell that paper clip. Everyone has a paper clip they want to sell, right? Service, a product, whatever it may be. But what makes your paper clip different? What makes it different? who's your audience that's going to buy your paperclip, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much are you going to sell your paperclip for to show its value, but also to not to drain their pocketbook, right? Not to drain their wallet, but still continue to show that value, understanding who your audience is, understanding why they need to buy that paperclip. I think that was huge for me in saying, hey, I want to, have a leadership development and coaching practice, but why? I want to gain clarity to do what? I want to increase or reignite your confidence and help you gain self-awareness for what? To do what with it, right? Because there's a lot of people doing the same thing, that same paperclip. So mine was that I didn't have a clear business plan. That was a fumble. I went out there and I was just like, oh my goodness. Understanding for the year, I need to sell this much to be able to make this much, to say this is of value, to then realize my exit strategy out of the corporate world, right? I didn't just jump out of the corporate world. So I was in the corporate world for 26 years. People go, well, why didn't you jump sooner? I didn't have an exit strategy. I didn't have an exit strategy. I didn't have a business plan to jump into my business full time. So that was huge. But also too, people talk about, having a vision and, having a strategy, and that's well and fine. But I felt like for me, I didn't know my numbers. I didn't know my numbers. I can have the vision, but I didn't know my numbers. And I felt like I wasn't a good business person because that financial acumen, I didn't feel like I had that. So I had to learn and read books and talk to other business owners that were successful to say, how do I do this? So that brings me to another point, Kent, of asking for help.
Yep.
I didn't ask for help. I can do this by myself. I don't need anybody. Plus, also, too, I was trying to be secretive with what I was trying to do because I didn't want anybody to steal my plan. But I realized there are actually people out there that wanted to help, that wanted to say, try this. And so I didn't ask for help. And then here I go. And I'm going to use you, Kent, as an example. You reached out to me and I was like, I could actually use his help.
Yep.
And that was huge for me. So when I finally took that chance and followed my intuition with our partnership, Kent, that's when things started to grow for me because I asked for help. I stopped trying to do it by myself and realized that there were people actually wanting me to thrive as well.
They say closed mouth don't get fed, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And no, not everybody's out there to help you, but this is where I tell individuals, follow your intuition. It's there for a reason. If you feel that you have that trust and rapport with whomever you're speaking to, you truly feel that they're there for you to help you thrive and they can add value to your life and your business, go for it. All of a sudden, it's just going to boom. So I think my major, just to sum up the mistakes I made was I didn't have a business plan. I didn't understand my paperclip, who was going to buy my paperclip, how much I had to monetize for my paperclip. I didn't have any of that. I just knew I wanted to do something, right? And then asking for help. I felt like I can do it all on my own. And I think the third biggest thing was to give myself permission to do it. Because I was
moves, not excuses.
Make moves, not excuses. Give myself permission to do it because I think I was waiting on other people like my spouse, my kids. I was waiting for them to say, go ahead and do it. But I had to give myself permission. And that's a mindset, Kent. That's a mindset that I had to shift for me.
Yeah, that's huge. I think many entrepreneurs out there, also corporate professionals as well, right? When they know they needed help, they just don't know which way to go,
right?
Or they don't know who to go with,
right?
By you showing up, making moves instead of excuses because my spouse said this or that, or my friend says this or that. You just go with it. You don't have to have a perfect plan. Just have some kind of plan.
Right. And that's huge too. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. I remember somebody telling me it doesn't have to be perfect. Just go. And this is where I say, is it 80% there, 75% there? Then go. And what did they say? Build the wings as you go up, or jump and build the wings as you come down. I don't know, whichever one it is.
Or Rome isn't built in one overnight, right? In one day, right?
Or Martin Luther King Jr. says, go ahead and take the first step, even though you may not see the entire staircase. So doing that, and I think you just said it, not being perfect. Because listen, there are people out there doing the same thing as you. And if you keep waiting for it to be perfect, you're already 5 steps behind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everything doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, come on. Social, it can't, when you've seen my LinkedIn post from years ago to now, my social media from years ago to now, I mean, that's growth just in itself. And that's a huge marketing piece, right? So everything's not going to be perfect. Social media for me wasn't perfect back in the day. Now, I don't want to even still say it's perfect, but it's gotten better.
Oh yeah, it's better for sure. There's no question about it. Yeah. When you start something new, it's always going to be awkward. It's always going to be uncomfortable. But that's part of the natural process,
right,
of someone growing.
Right. Absolutely.
That's why just keep on chugging along. I guess it's just making one foot after another and just keep going towards your goal, right? Regardless of what whoever says what. But you made a really important point, is to ask for help, because every so often we are in our own head, and we need an outside perspective. We need an outside perspective, especially ones like who you are, an executive leadership coach, focusing on emotional intelligence.
Right.
That's huge, like huge. There's so many high IQ out there, but EQ is a whole different animal.
Whole different
animal. It encompasses so many different assets of a human body, and we are all full of emotions. Everybody will an emotional creature.
We're emotional creatures. We're really emotional creatures, and that's one thing I tell in regards to leadership. People want to go into leadership, and that's great. And one of the first questions I ask them, do you like people? And they go, yeah, why? Because you're going to be leading people, not leading tasks, leading the people who complete the task. Are you able to guide them through that? Because it's going to be emotional. They're emotional creatures. So that's like one of the first questions I ask aspiring leaders, and it helps them identify their leadership style as well, because you're going to lead people, and every single person is different.
So speaking of leaders, I wanted to ask you, what advice do you want to give them? Let's say they're watching someone like yourself, who in that space, and helping leaders, and taking them to the next level in their career, and they're kind of like, I don't know if what I should be doing, or kind of on the fence. What would you say to those leaders who are top performers and want to get to the next level?
I would say now it's time to dive even deeper into your self-awareness. I need you to understand your likes, your dislikes, your biases, your triggers, right? Your boundaries. And most importantly, you need to identify your values. Because we all have these goals, right? People come to me, I have this goal. I have this big, audacious, big, huge, audacious goal, a BHAG. They have this big goal, okay? And I go, does that align with your values? And they go, what do you mean? What are your top 5 values? Your values is the foundation. They are the foundation you stand on. So as you are on this leadership journey, when you get challenged, when you get questioned, they're challenging and questioning your values. That's when your leadership presence is going to show up, right? And because of that self-awareness, because you know who you are, you know what you stand on, now here's your chance to respond appropriately in any of those, quote, leadership situations you face. And how you respond there is going to demonstrate your leadership presence. And what I like to say is going to demonstrate how you show up and how you show off which means leaning into your strengths and your talents. How you are present, how you present is going to determine, just how good of a leader you are. So that first step is diving into that self-awareness, because my friends, looking into the mirror is hard. It is very hard. But that right there is probably 75% of the battle in regards to emotional intelligence. All the other pieces of emotional intelligence will fall into place.
Yeah, love it. I've got some comments coming through from LinkedIn right now, and Adam said, "Yay for NC, North Carolina." Um, there's a Muhammad says, "Nice live, so much value share here, so much more."
Absolutely, absolutely. And I see the comments too. I
You
see
do?
Dolores says the big, hairy, audacious goals. I love that one. I love the big, hairy, audacious goal, because the hair can be really prickly and sticky at times. But yeah, but everyone should have that BHAG. Everyone should have that goal, right? But this is where I said, when you're identifying your goals, does it align with your values? Because listen, sometimes we have values and they're not even ours. They're not even our values. They come from like our previous experiences. They come from people that raised us or have been in our lives or have somehow influenced our lives. So this is where I tell everybody, I said, reevaluate your values every few years, because they will change as you gain more education, as you gain more experience, as you gain more maturity, especially that emotional maturity. Your values will change. Your values will change.
As you were moving through, when you first started out your entrepreneurship, right? And you're moving through, and now you're one of the top ranked leadership coach in the country. What was your experience like? And what kind of advice would you give to those entrepreneurs that are, moving into entrepreneurship, and then you've gotten to a success level where you're very, well known now. A lot of people know you. What kind of advice would you give to entrepreneurs that are just getting into the space, or maybe got in there like the first couple of years, and they're, maybe can learn something from you in terms of what advice would you then give to those people?
Absolutely. So three items that have helped me, right? Decide when we're going to do it. One thing I saw is that there's a lot of entrepreneurs who have not failed because they didn't continue the journey. So entrepreneurs talking about, oh yeah, I failed. No, you didn't fail. You didn't go far enough to even fail. So decide what you're going to do. If this is what you're going to do, entrepreneurship, make that decision. Because remember, good leadership capabilities is that being decisive. So I want you to decide. I need you to commit. And then I want you to be consistent. The entrepreneurs that talk about, oh, I failed. No, you didn't fail. You weren't consistent enough to fail. Okay. And decide, commit, and be consistent. There are so many entrepreneurs I see out there, and I'm going, oh my gosh, if they would just be consistent, they would see their boom. That consistency, all of a sudden, I remember I woke up one day and it was like, I literally felt the boom. And if you told me, Nicole, in 40 years, your business is going to be here, I would have been like, kid, I'll be quiet. Whatever. You don't know what you're talking about. But I stayed consistent. And when I say consistent, when I say decide, commit, and that third one, be consistent, because there's going to be days where it sucks. It's hard. I don't want to do this anymore. And this is even advice for those 9 to 5 individuals as well. It just seems hard and like fair. And why am I doing this? And why are they doing this? I want you to remember your big why that you decided on. I want you to remember your purpose that you committed to, and continue to be consistent in that. If you have to take a 24-hour break, take a break, come back the next day, and keep going. And this is where I say, I'll give you 5 minutes to be all emotional about it. But then we have to be gangster about this and just go in and go for it. Right? Yeah. Go gangster and stay consistent with it. I see a lot of people fail at whatever they're trying to do because they're not being consistent.
they say that consistency is the new currency.
Yes, it is. And I agree, whatever that is. Now, you may have a goal and you're like, I'm being consistent with this goal. Okay, reevaluate that goal. Don't give up on the goal. Reevaluate that goal. You may have to pivot on that goal. You may have to pivot exactly what you're trying to accomplish, the timeline you're trying to accomplish it on. What are you trying to gain out of this? And that's where we've had to pivot. And everyone that's listening here has had to pivot in the last 2 or 3 years. So you know what it means to pivot and adapt and adjust to whatever the situation's going on right now. Everyone here is listening is a change agent. You just haven't claimed that yet. Because the past 2 or 3 years, you've had to change some sort of way, right? So decide, commit, and be consistent in that.
Great advice. Thank you for that wisdom.
Absolutely.
And persistent. You gotta keep on chugging along and reevaluate your goal and always pivot. I love it.
Always.
Finally, what are you doing today? I know you do like keynotes here and there. What kind of coaches are you offering in the moment, Nicole?
Well, in my organization, JMS Creative Leadership Solutions, I'm a boutique leadership development and coaching practice. I focus on emotional intelligence, that human behaviorism. I always ask the question, is your behavior getting you what you want? So you have to think about that, because there may have to be some adjustments you have to make. But I do offer one-on-one executive coaching or that leadership coaching as I go into 2023. As my schedule ramps up, I'm taking 1 to 3 clients a quarter, trying to move more into that group coaching. So with organizations, I do group coaching, or with organizations, I do take on one-on-ones within their organization as well, because these organizations are trying to level up, invest in their employees, and I'm all for that. I do keynotes. I do motivational speaking all over the place. I travel. I do it virtually. But a lot of my keynotes focus on, gaining that clarity to make an impact. Where is your show up and your show off for you to get to that next level? But I also do consulting. I take on organizations or individuals, small business owners that just need a little bit of guidance in regards to their organization, some leadership guidance, or even, like I said, my background's talent management, so human resources and so forth. And of course, I do focus on diversity, equity, inclusion. That is part of my background, in regards to helping organizations level up and foster that inclusion in the workplace. Listen, one of my goals in my organization, or I like to say the pillars that I stand on, is to make sure that everyone still maintains that growth mindset, still has that courage, especially that emotional courage, but also too has the heart to do it, because we have to lead with heart today. That empathy is that leadership superpower that we have to have. And as you move up in your leadership ranks, the empathy tends to go down. So here I am to make sure that you still have that empathy and still have that compassion to be able to lead people. So basically, however my organization, JMS, can help individuals or organizations do that, I'm here for it.
I love it.
But also, I do have my podcast, Leveling Up with Nicole Smith, where I have 3 seasons so far. And we talk about how just to level up professionally and personally, finances, emotional intelligence, just life. So you can check that out as well on all your podcast platforms.
I love it. You've shared many golden nuggets on this conversation so far. But folks, Nicole has a book, 20 leadership golden nuggets, right behind her.
Yes.
Be sure to check that out, because there's just way more than just those that she just shared.
Yeah, this is Amazon. Get it on Amazon. Absolutely.
And Nicole, how do people find you? What's the best way people get a hold of you?
The best way to get hold of me, well, here I am on LinkedIn. So you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I do respond back to messages. I'm just, what you see here, my friends, is what you see on social media, LinkedIn, and so forth. So you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, but also to my website, jmscreatesleaders.com. But also email me at Nicole at jmscreatesleaders.com. And of course, I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, but you can talk to me and I'll get back to you.
Thank you, Nicole. Well, you provided plenty of value today. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here, Nicole.
Absolutely.
Guys, that's all for today's show. I appreciate you attending. I appreciate you, Nicole. And if you're watching the replay and have questions, feel free to drop that in the comment and we'll get back to you.
And Kent, thank you so much. I want to say you played an instrumental part in my business as well. Thank you, my friend.
You're very welcome. Have a lovely day and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye for now.